if I walked into a Comic-Con and I saw someone dressed like this, if I literally saw a one-to-one version of this, I'd be thinking to myself, decent effort, fair play. But this is the Hot Toys 1/6 scale Artisan Joker prototype, and did you really pay all that money and join the queue for a decent effort? Let's take a look. Hi everyone, welcome to 1/6 Figure Focus, and in this video we're going to take a look at the Hot Toys 1/6 scale Artisan Joker prototype and also the Hot Toys 1/6 scale Artisan Anakin prototype. So these both look awful. I don't really have an allegiance to Hot Toys or InArt or Big Chief, rest in peace, or whoever. I typically buy figures I like of characters I love from movies I love. It's quite simple. And again, if you're a fan of this channel, or fan, subscriber, watcher, subscriber, channel member, whatever, if you follow the channel, you'll know that I'm a diehard Christopher Nolan fan. I'm a diehard Dark Knight fan. Love the Dark Knight Joker and all that. But we're very saturated with it. Like, before InArt came along, there was already multiple different versions, from customs to third-party figures to, obviously, you know, Hot Toys have done several versions of this before. You know, I've owned some of them as well. InArt have nailed it, in my opinion. You know, no figure is perfect, but it's a bloody awesome figure. The quality is a lot higher than some of the basically all of the other Hot Toys that I've seen. As in, sorry, let me phrase that. Basically all of the other Hot Toys Jokers that I've seen, and the ones that I've actually owned myself as well. Now I own some of the older ones, and even the DX11. It's not a fair comparison because there was like a 10-year gap between the Artisan, or sorry, I should say the InArt versions coming out and the previous DX11. But then they came along and they announced this, that they were going to do a sculpted version of this purple coat Joker, and they were going to do a rooted Artisan version as well. You had to join the queue, I think, for both of them, if I do remember. There was a queuing system, and you know, there was a limited number and stuff like that, and they were quite expensive. I think this one was like, I don't know, 300 something, 350, maybe kicking the arse of 400 or something like that. And there were some parts I thought looked quite well. I actually thought the sculpted version looked decent, but I don't think this looks good. I don't think the rooted hair on the Artisan Joker in anything that I've seen looks good. It looks like a mop. It's going out. It's not hanging down. In this photo here, it's clearly going out. It doesn't hang right. And that's one thing I was really impressed by. The rooted 2-pack on the hair was just fantastic. And I was really impressed by multiple different customs that I've seen, right? But this here, it's just any photo I've seen of this particular rooted Hot Toys 1/6 scale Artisan, they don't look good. I don't think this looks good at all. The tailoring on this doesn't look good either. I don't know what's going on with that butterfly knife or flick knife or whatever. I think it's a butterfly knife, the way he's holding it. Like, I do think competition breeds innovation, but I don't know what's going on with Hot Toys. Like, is it like they just don't care and they think people will buy it anyway? Or is it the fact that maybe they don't have like a point man or point person at these events styling these correctly? Because I do think, in fairness, I think in the right hands, this could probably, it could look better. It could definitely look better. The hair could definitely be improved. Someone puts a bit of style on it, I think it would look a bit better. The coat though, it just doesn't look good. It's almost like the pants are a little too baggy. Now I know he wasn't wearing like slim fit pants in that movie, but like they weren't baggy pants, and these don't look baggy, but this looks a little I don't know, do they look just a little like, I don't know, the drain cleaner or something like that? It looks awkward. The stance looks awkward as well, and the coat, it doesn't look good. So this is disappointing for people who joined the queue and, you know, got a spot and they did the RSVP and they sat in the queue at a certain time, and then they see this. Because not only is it like, you know, limited, exclusive, you need to jump through hoops to take part in this and all that, and then if the final product looks like this, I don't think people are going to be overly happy. But inevitably, I do think if someone gets this and they're particularly good at styling hair, which you realistically shouldn't have to do, but if they are good at, like, you know, futzing it a bit, styling the hair a bit, maybe messing around with the coat, I'd imagine you're going to see, when it comes out, you're going to see a lot of good images as well. But my point is that, fine, this is just the prototype. It's not the final product. But more often than not with HotToys, there is like a drop down. Some drop downs are acceptable. Like, I think that Wolverine figure definitely is a drop down from the prototype. The prototype images were amazing on the head sculpt, but the head sculpt prototype has definitely dropped down a bit, but I still think it's an acceptable drop down. I still think that the standard is quite good, very, very high. In fact, I think the seamless forearms in that figure are amazing. The tailoring, the different shirts, the base, apart from the typo, you get what I'm saying. There's a bit of a discrepancy, but I think that one's acceptable. But then you have the Tony Stanks and the Ant-Man, which are unacceptable. And some people would argue that the Doc Ock head sculpt was unacceptable. I do actually think the Doc Ock head sculpt was unacceptable, but I think the rest of the figure saves it. So my point is, like, you weigh up the pros and cons, you make your decision. I personally wouldn't be happy with this figure if this was on my shelf and this is as good as it's going to look at the final product. I hope for the people watching, if you're watching this now, just live very carefully what I'm saying. I'm not trying to elicit emotional response from you. I'm not trying to annoy you. It's just, I don't think that this is what you want. I don't think this is what you signed up for. This should be better than this. Hopefully that this is just a badly posed, badly futzed with or organized prototype. I'm hoping the hair is going to be better, but to be honest, I'm skeptical because the hair is going to make or break this figure. I think the sculpted version looks pretty good, but I imagine the jacket's the very, very same. So yeah, I think this looks bad. Possibly salvageable, time will tell. Yeah, that's that. So the Anakin then, I think the Anakin looks a bit better than the Joker, but still this doesn't look great. Things I'm noticing, the hair obviously, like he had a lot of volume in his hair, in fairness, in Revenge of the Sith. But I don't know, this gives me like, I can't quite describe how I feel about this. Like it's not completely awful. Again, with a bit of manipulation, it could be okay, but it's definitely not as good as those prototype images. If you remember this, I think there was a leaked photo or something from like Sideshow Con where they had this and the hair was awful. And then you saw the actual official prototype images and it looked stunning. Like the head sculpt, it looked like Hayden. Just looked like a screenshot of Hayden. The hair was organized and whatever you want to call it, styled. It looked really well. It looked like he did in Revenge of the Sith. But this looks bad. It's just kind of all over the place. It's like in Transport, this got all frizzy and then they just grabbed it and kind of pushed it down a small bit to try and get it looking well. But no, I don't think this looks good. The USB lightsabers aren't going to be good anyway. Let's face it, they're never going to be as good as CCFLs. And the actual tunic or cloak itself, like if you look at say his right shoulder, this bit is not sitting well. It's literally going up instead of like sitting down. So that could definitely be better as well. This bit less this. Right, this kind of reminds me of the first images we saw, those leaked images when it was on display at the Sideshow Con that they did. Definitely not as good as the prototype. I don't even think the head sculpt is good. Forget about the hair for a second. I don't think that's good. What I'm seeing here, again, could be the angle, it could be the photography, it could be the lighting, all the usual things, fine. But God, that tunic, it's really not sitting right. No. Don't think this is particularly good either, and which is a shame because there's so many people out there that Anakin is their favorite Star Wars character. Like Anakin is their guy, you know, especially the kind of younger collectors as well. Like Anakin is the main man for them and for a lot of people. This got a lot of people hyped. I have to say I was blown away by the prototype images. I hope what we get is closer to the prototype images than to this. But at the same time, if this drops like this, you're going to see some awful photos, just like, you know, get out of the box, someone takes an iPhone, snap, terrible lighting, too close, whatever, and it's going to look awful. But at the same time, you're going to get some people who are able to style that hair the way it's supposed to be, mess around with that tunic, maybe like, so I know some people like, they do things like they dampen the clothes so that it sits better, and then as it dries, it sits better. I think people did that to their Gandalf. They like wet the cloak or dampened it a small bit, sprayed a bit of water on it, and then hung it on the figure, and then just over time, then the way it dries, it actually sits a bit better. So yeah, look, I gotta say, if they turn out like this, I think the two of them are fails. yeah, there's no ifs and buts about it. I think for all the hype that's around these two figures and the RSVP and the queuing system, and people were disappointed, and the fact that like they're not numbered, but they're saying there's like so many thousand of these, but they're not actually numbers, so no one can really tell. I think if they turn out like this, I do think people are going to be disappointed and miss the mark. And especially whatever about this one. But this one here, Hot Toys knows InArt's out there. And InArt is doing, whether you like it or not, like they're slow, but so are Hot Toys. Like Hot Toys there for, you know, a figure comes out and it's like, if it comes out within 12 months, we're like, oh, that was really fast. If it comes out within 18 months, it's like, that's par for the course. And if it comes out over that, then, you know, it's delayed. And there's been figures like over 2 years plus like that have been delayed. Whereas if you think about it, the InArt Joker was officially announced, I think, in February, March of 2022. And some batches were released at the end of 2022. Not too many, just a few to people in China and stuff. But a lot of them were shipping within 12 months. Now people still, just some people are still only getting them in the last few weeks and months, completely normal. But for the most part, it was done within 18 months. It was definitely done within 12, you know? So, yeah, there's that. So this one here, they should have, this photo shouldn't have seen the light of day. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, look, that's the way I'm looking at it. Like, I don't think that, whatever about J&D, like the market is saturated with the way I describe this is, I'm not sick of the Dark Knight trilogy or the Dark Knight or the Heath Ledger Joker. And I love the InArt Joker. I think it's just a fantastic fucking piece. But I'm kind of getting sick of talking about it, but part of the channel is I have to cover the things that, you know, look, it's easier for me to talk about this than something I completely don't like. At least I have some sort of a connection to these characters and stuff like that, but it is getting kind of, the market is saturated. So whatever about J&D, if we push that aside, I do think that InArt, when this officially announces, even if it's a bit better than this, I still think that InArt are going to have the edge on this. But yeah, curious to see what J&D does, but more than likely going to be out of my price range. Look, that's the end of the video. If you want to support the channel, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. Let me know if you're picking these up or not. Let me know if you're happy with these prototype images. Let me know if you think they'll improve or will the opposite happen. Okay, you can also follow me on Instagram and on X. That's it. That's the end of the video. See you in the next one. Good luck.